I kind of forgot what I put on there already.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll use it more as a cue for any updated answers since you actually filled it out because that will probably
Okay.
be a little bit simpler. Okay, what got you
Yeah, that makes
interested in
sense.
coaching?
So I've been playing Overwatch basically since beta, like a long time ago.
Uh,
And I was really into Tracer back when it first came out. So I was playing
yep.
A lot of Tracer. Then life got busy, had a couple kids, you know, the usual story. Stopped playing, took a break, came back recently, did some healing, and then got back into Tracer again.
Yep.
Fell in love with the character again, even in Overwatch 2, even though her mechanics are the same, but the whole gameplay just feels a lot different.
Yep, for
And
sure.
so, yeah, and so really, it's just really about getting some help climbing. I just want to improve, basically.
Yep,
I
makes
don't really have
sense.
a goal. I don't want. I'm not necessarily saying I want to get to GM. I just want to get better, basically.
Yeah,
And so,
okay.
and I have been. I started, I think, around Gold 3 this time around. Currently, I'm floating around Plat 4, Plat 3.
Okay, sounds good.
And so I've been definitely getting better, but I'm hitting a wall like that Plat 3 area, and so that's about where I figure I needed some help.
Yep, okay, sounds good. I mean, a lot of these questions are kind of already answered here. So, Tracer, mostly one trick. At the time of the form, you'd said that you have a couple other pocket picks with hit scan just in case Tracer isn't working. Is that still the case? What's the
Yeah, that's still the
percentage
case.
breakdown?
Yeah, it's still Soldier or Sojourn at this point. I've been kind of
Yeah.
leaning more to Sojourn more recently, but I did Soldier back in the day, a lot of
Yeah.
it, and so
Yeah.
I kind of fall
Okay.
back to either one of those if I just can't do anything with Tracer,
Okay.
depending on the
Okay.
context of the game. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. It might also be worth kind of evaluating before we finish today's session what circumstances make you feel like you need to swap, because that might be able to be a conversation that we can have about
Okay.
when a swap is probably worth making and when maybe a swap might just be more of a playstyle or positional adjustment.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. That sounds good.
What do you enjoy about Tracer?
I like the speed of her character.
Yep.
I just enjoy just the fast-paced nature of the game
Yeah.
with her in it, basically. I think that's the first one. The second one is I feel like she's just a harder character, and I'm attracted to that for some
Same. I
reason. I
understand.
don't know
No,
why,
no, makes
it's
sense.
just like
Makes sense.
and so there's like a lot of mechanics involved in her gameplay. Like positioning is just so important with her. I feel like a bit
Yes.
more than other characters, and
Yes.
just strategy is really important to her. And so that's basically what I like about it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good to know that you are kind of a reflection of your skill and not just the character's playing itself for you, right? There's a certain
Right.
amount of
Yeah.
pride in that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. At time of the form, we said, I like to identify what specific things are preventing me from climbing and getting better. Maybe it's my strategy, mechanics, game sense. Also feel like I play inconsistently, generally, and I like to have strategy around improving that consistency. Would you say it's approximately the same?
Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, in fact, I just started watching my replays more recently, and I can definitely tell like the inconsistency in the games, like between every game. It's just a little different every time. And I've even noticed that as I feel like I'm not getting value, I start to make dumber decisions,
Yeah, yeah,
basically, right?
yeah, yeah.
Like nothing's happening, and I'm like, okay, I better play more risky. But looking back at the replays, I'm realizing, well, it turns out I probably didn't need to play so risky. It just in the moment, I felt like I wasn't getting any value.
So establishing
Um,
kind of a framework that we can kind of converse off of. The number one thing with consistency is that a lot of it is outside of your control, and this is a conversation I've had a million times because it's
mhm.
worth repeating, right? There are factors like sleep, there are factors like warm up, there are physiological factors even beyond that, the time of day that you're playing, how stressful of a work environment that you had that day, or whether there's anything IRL that's kind of affecting your in-game performance. But
Right.
those are all more or less controllable, some less, some more. And ultimately, the biggest thing that you kind of need to track, whether it's in game consistency, is taking advantage of out of game factors and variables that you can control as best as you possibly can, like whether that's
Right.
sleep or managing stress and so on, playtime, things like that. And then in game, I think a lot of people underestimate the number of in-game inconsistency variables that they can control. Let me give you some examples of variables that you cannot control. So whether you're feeling warm mechanically or not, or having a good day mechanically, probably not something you can control. Can't really control what the enemy team plays necessarily, but what you can control is understanding that matchup better.
Mhm.
You can't control what map rolls out, but you can control, oh, I'm bad at this map. I need to come up with a better strategy about how I play this map.
Right. Right.
Matchups, maps, even situations where, like, let's say that you just have teammates that aren't performing that particular game, so the game starts to go poorly, and then what you just described is, oh, I feel a sense of responsibility, and then I actually make fewer good decisions.
Right.
I feel a sense of a burden of performing rather than just simply doing my job as best as I can and letting the dice roll as they may. That might be something else that is within your control here. So what I want to evaluate here is, what do you feel like leads to that inconsistency that you're aware of? Are there heroes, maps, matchups, situations, games, even in recent memory that you're like, I felt just useless, or I felt like I was playing really poorly? Does anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, even more recently, even last night, I was just playing a few games to get a couple of replays for today.
Yep.
And yeah, I had a few where, like, one game in particular, I felt very much in control, and I think that had to do probably with the map itself. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it was like Nepal, I think.
Okay, are you comfortable with that map?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with it, and I played it a lot, like years ago, right? Even
Sure.
And so I know it very well, and so I know basically all the routes around it, and so there I know where I can poke, where I can't. Versus some of the newer maps, like the robot push maps, can't think of one right now, but those I tend to struggle a bit more. And I think it has maybe to do with like map sense, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, just map experience, right? Like you may know what you're looking for with Tracer, like looking for short range off angle. That's important, and we'll talk about that in your review. But ultimately, being able to translate that, I mean, I had a little bit of experience yesterday because I was play testing some of the stadium stuff on stream, and I was like, I know what I should be doing, but I've never played this map before.
Right.
So I think this is the right angle. Oh no, this is not good at all. And so that's kind of where map experience comes in. So, okay, that could be a factor. Did you have any bad games recently, or games where you felt like your performance was just atrocious?
Yeah, I had one or two yesterday actually, were just absolute like dog water for games. And those, what I noticed, it's really just like that value proposition, I guess, where nothing is happening, the game isn't going as I'd like it to go, is probably the best way to put it. And so yeah, I start making some dumb decisions, or I start kind of just botting out, and I can feel it in the moment. Where it's like I just start kind of just going in, and I stop paying attention to where the team is.
Sure.
And I just kind of want to just go and get a kill, go get a pick. Almost at one point, it doesn't matter what my position is anymore, and that's usually for those games where it's just like nothing is happening. Just
now,
at least how I see it.
Define that, and see, that's kind of the important thing here.
Yeah, and I think it's more to do with like we're just not getting the picks, we're not moving the cart, let's say, or we're just like getting stuck, like in spawn. You know, like
have
one
you
of those
evaluated why that's happened, or what you can do to impact that without being stupid?
You know, I've thought about that. Yeah, I started thinking about that more recently because I felt that a lot yesterday, and I think it's so. I just got back from a backpacking trip actually, so I was a little bit like also.
Nice.
I was also just a little out of sorts. I'd been out like not playing for a few days, and so I thought about it yesterday a bit, and I think it just has to do with I don't know, like a general. I don't want to call it like anxiety or anything like that. It's just like I want something to happen, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, it could just be impatience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Do you have one of those replay codes available? That might be one maybe that we don't look in full, but at least touch on maybe some of those moments.
Yeah, I have one of those. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's keep going then. So inconsistency, part of that inconsistency may be identified as a feeling of needing to provide value when there is no value to be provided because you don't know what's going wrong. Right? Mm-hmm. So obviously I could tell you, hey, even when things are going poorly, you need to stick with your fundamentals, and that goes without saying. But I also think that there's an argument for, well, can we avoid that sense of helplessness more often? Can I at least inform that helplessness a little bit? Like, this is why things are going wrong, and this is why you need to just trust the process. I may not be able to provide solutions for you. That's not always possible. But I can definitely say, hey, this is why those difficulties are happening, and maybe that gives you a little bit of patience. Okay, playtime, system stuff. Obviously, you're a little bit more limited, but your aspirations are also a little bit more limited as a result of that, which is good. Mm-hmm. So are you comfortable with how much you're playing, how often you're playing, the way that you're approaching playing? And
I play about 4 times a week, let's say, maybe 2 hours at a time. Give or take a little bit.
That's not bad.
Usually it's in the evenings, like, I don't know, 9 to 11, something like that.
Yeah,
Right?
makes sense.
Yeah, so, and sometimes I do a little more, do a little less, but for the most part, I'd say pretty consistent about 4 days.
Okay, sounds good. And that's mostly tracers you've established earlier. Yeah, I mean, goals-wise, let's kind of shift it away from rank, but like diamond, it's possible. It's possible. Right. Yeah, it's achievable. So we'll take like we're kind of meeting you where you're at, which is at that Plat 4, Plat 3 area, and thinking, can we squeeze 10%, 15% more value out of that time? Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
yeah,
later in the
definitely.
day, which is always a downside, but that's can't really change, of course. So
Right.
that's just kind of where we're at, and we'll make the most of that. I would evaluate your warm up. Are you warming up even for just 2 or 3 minutes?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have a couple of like codes that I've used in arcade games. One is it's based on Vaxta. I think it's one where like the
Yep.
characters like as you kill them they get faster.
Yep.
And
I think it's
then
the
as you
ISX
don't,
code,
they slow
right?
down. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that
I
one
think I'm
I
in
pretty
that
much
code.
yeah, you are actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I do that usually until I get to about 180 to 200% speed. So depending on my day, that's fast, I guess, if I'm more visually acute or
Sure.
my
Sure.
mechanically better.
Sure.
And then other days takes a little bit longer. And then once I do that, I usually do one QP, and then I'll jump into to comp.
Works for me. Little feedback for that, maybe to add some spice to it. Maybe not
Yeah.
specifically with that code, might translate a little bit better to Vaxo when there's not as much of a game with it, which I actually think is really good. I think games for warm-ups are great. But one thing that you could try is doing like standing still tracking, practicing your blink 180 reacquisitions. So in other words, you blink through somebody and try to quickly snap the crosshair to them. Trigger
Right.
discipline, you're probably familiar with that. So like basically the concept is that like you can either just warm up or you can do specific individual drills for like 45, 60
drills.
seconds each and just do
Right.
3 or 4 of those back to back, and then you're good to go
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
So what you're doing right now is fine, but just to mix things up, prevent some boredom, it could be good as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yeah. Because right now, yeah, what I find with that game in particular is it tends to focus me a bit more on. I guess I watched a few more videos recently, like the Crosshair Ego, because their characters are moving so fast. I tend to kind of like start aiming as opposed to blinking around as much as I should.
And that's unavoidable when it's with bots, right? Like you're just going
Right.
to focus on your tracking, which is fine, but that's where you might want to get in the habit of like, okay, maybe I should practice some blink 180s as well, just kind of get in the mindset of it, right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's nothing you can really do about that. Okay. Things that are holding you back. Game sense understanding, I think, is the biggest factor. Mechanics could do better. Just think it's overall game sense. Is there anything in regards to the game sense that we haven't already elaborated on? Part of it was the inconsistency because you don't know what you need to be doing differently, maybe forcing stuff as a result of that ignorance. Anything else?
No,
coming
I
in?
think that's in my mind. That's what I think of like game sense and where I'm missing, where it's just I feel like I'm just missing something, and so then I get that like anxiety of having to perform, which then leads down a rabbit hole of like.
Well, it's the
problems.
worst of both worlds too, because it's not only ignorance that's leading you to make bad decisions, but it's also like you really aren't. Maybe you aren't doing enough, right? Like, but you don't know
Right.
what that is. So
Exactly. Right.
I will say it should be your goal to, when you're confronted with something you don't know what to do, that you do kind of think your way out of that problem. The challenge, and maybe the most difficult skill in all of Overwatch, is to know whether what you're doing is correct, you just need to keep practicing it, or whether what you're doing is incorrect and there needs to be an adjustment. And if you can always answer that question, then you're going to basically learn very linearly, right? You'll always kind of progress. But the question is, are you doing the right things? And that's where having a coach, I think, may be the most valuable aspect, because I can tell you from an objective standpoint, you're not very good tracking. You blinked into a wall, you missed your pulse bomb, but
Right.
your system here makes sense. Just keep practicing, it will work. You don't need to change what you're doing, or maybe you do, and we'll kind of look at that from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions here before we get into the replay?
No. I think that's all I got right now. I'm sure. Oh, there you go. Oh, I lost you for a second.
No, that's okay. I just pulled up stream.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
as stuff comes up, I'm
I think
sure
we're good.
stuff will come up. Okay. Let's
Okay.
let's take a look here. Shoot me
Yeah.
the replay code or
First one-
codes.
Sure. Yeah. We can just paste it in the chat.
Yep.
Here's one. This one was like my first game after coming back after this last trip. So I was this I think highlights a bit more some of the problems that I think I have.
We'll focus more on. Well, hang on. Is this one of the ignorance ones or the inconsistency
Yeah,
ones?
this is definitely
Perfect.
one of the more
Okay,
inconsistency ones. Yeah.
So obviously, like, I'm going to point out mechanical errors as I see them, but I'm going to be a
Okay.
little bit more forgiving because you were rusty coming in. This is first game, so I'm more curious to hear about, where did you feel lost? Where did you feel like you didn't know what you needed to do, if that works for you?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Any questions about Tracer before we get rolling?
No, I think I'm pretty set on Tracer overall. I think I've got like the distance down at this point. That was always a big issue for me for a while. Was shooting from too far away, which I still do that. I still, unfortunately, I still sometimes when I'm trying to extract that value, I will shoot from far away as like I need something, so if I can just distract them, it gives me some sort of.
So what we'll do is I will speak to you in terms of like you kind of know most of what you're doing, but obviously the gap between knowledge and execution is going to be the big thing here. So if I see something as like you know it but you're not doing it, then we'll prioritize it. So
yeah, that sounds good.
Angle here is fine. It's fine. Fine. It's fine. I mean, you were on the angle. They ran into your angle, so you fight them, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's a good space for Tracer because there's a lot of cover. You're not wide out in the open. Kind of goes without saying. This rotation is fine as well. With or without Widow, this is fine. It's fine. A little bit of Trigger Discipline would have gone a long way there, which means that mid-clip stuff, right? Which I'm sure you're aware of that term.
Yeah, I have not practiced that very much. I need to.
And you need to. And this is kind of what we talked about with your warm-up, where you can either have a warm-up or you can have a mechanical drill training session. And to be very clear with Trigger Discipline, it's such a universal skill for Tracer that you can actually practice it in a ranked game. Because if you think about how many times has Trigger Discipline been relevant in the last, 45 seconds, 7, 8 times. Basically every clip, whether it was with the Winston, the Juno, the Cassidy, everything, Trigger Discipline has been relevant. So, okay. Good rotations from you. Short off angle from right side, pressuring the tank out, then rotating to the left, sneak up on backline, creating windows. Obviously some mechanical goof ups, but for the most part, we're doing the right things.
Yeah, I think we lost. I'm pretty sure we lost this game, yeah. In the end.
Sure. This is fine. This is just a little bit unfortunate. I will say I would like to see a little bit more patience from you here, just from a question of timing. This feels like free value. It's not, because of what's actually happening right now, which is nothing. So there are always 63.2% more chance of something going wrong when it is by yourself. And even though you don't feel like I'm really by myself, you really are, given the context of what you know right now. So there's just more likely that somebody's going to show up and catch you with your pants down, right? Because there's nothing else to think about, right?
Yeah, and I think this is a reoccurring theme. Just as I was watching some of my other replays like a week or two ago, kind of like I end up going off on my own for a little bit just to get some value, and then I just die.
What ends up happening is you had a pretty decent opener in terms of how you played, and I think you know it. And so then there's a little bit of confidence that carries into, I got it. No, you don't.
Right.
So this happens all the time, right? It happens all the time. Yep, disengage is fine. And then I would just retake right from here. Yep. Yep. This is good. I mean, you're down one, so you just have to be cautious. Now, this is an interesting moment right here, because you're trying to hold your recall, but that's actually a mistake. Because if you hold your recall, look at where you have to move. Do you see?
Yeah.
This is done so that I don't have to use my recall, but the irony is that you don't want to use your recall because you don't want to be vulnerable. Well, you are vulnerable right now. And then in addition to that, you're out of position because you didn't want to use your recall. So it's better to just recall, hold the angle, and just play a little bit more cautiously than to go all the way back to your team and kind of hope that I get the healing that I want, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
It's a good pulse bomb, but ultimately, you've given that Widow space, and she has Infrasight. You could have kept her so much more... Where is she? Oh my gosh, she grappled up. You could have kept this Widowmaker so much more honest by just simply recalling and holding the angle. Recall is not a defensive cooldown necessarily. It's more of a sustained cooldown in that regard, where it allows you to continue to do the things that you want to do. That's kind of a oversimplification, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Pulse bomb radius is okay, but I do think the Blink Health Pack one might be more consistent. So
you think so? Okay.
Your mileage may vary. Let's put it that way.
I've always just been defaulting to that because it just feels like I can just throw it, and if I miss it, I still get a pick.
Sure. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't think it's a bad perk. I think it's a lot less straightforward than the other one.
Yeah.
Which it's gonna be nerfed next week though, so who knows?
Oh, it is. Yeah, I tend to pick the other one whenever there's another tracer. Usually, like just because I can just steal the health packs when we're dueling.
Yeah. Holy crap, that is terrifying. Yeah, so
I was
this
like,
is
is it
really
over?
awkward because you're like short range off angle, but every angle that you're holding, the Widow can shoot you in the back of the head. I mean, optimally here, where would your angle be after this jump scare?
Probably going up towards the maybe more to the right, actually.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it's just
Yeah,
anywhere where the Widow can't see me if I can hold the angle
Right.
here. But it's obviously hard to think of these things in the moment this quickly, okay, and then you are responding to.
Yeah.
So it's
Like,
just
oh, shit, she
uncomfortable.
can see
It's, I mean, yeah, that was a nice clip, by the way. Very nice clip.
Oh, thanks.
It's not bad for a freaking backpacking trip first game.
Yeah.
The tracking alone, anyway, has been okay. Okay, let's see here. Yep, no point because he's too far. This is much closer. Yep.
Oh shit, get out. Yeah.
This is just more. There needs to be more of a priority on your on the quality of your disengages because this one, the recall is forced, of course. But look at where your disengages. So let's hindsight coach this one. With the power of hindsight, where do you need to go here?
Let's see. Well, I probably could have gone on to like in front of me there, like around the corner.
You
and
would
if
have
I
gotten
would've had
chased
a
and killed.
recall.
You would have gotten chased.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
100%. What's the rule? What is a rule for post recall? You're being pressured. What do you need to look for?
Post recall, just safety, right? Just cover.
Right. And you kind of nailed it right there. I just realized that my recording here was not recording the game. Okay, so we should be good to go. I apologize for the recording here. It's going to be a little delayed.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, post recall, you need cover. You need some sort of cover. So if you look at where you actually migrate to post recall, it's not safe.
It's not safe.
covered,
I just
right
straight into the middle. Yeah.
Right. So like when you're panicking, you need to find cover with where you end, and that might be here, or that might be here, or that might be going this direction, but tucking more towards the Megan behind the cart here. It needs to be cover. It needs to be cover, right? I think what's happening is that you have a propensity, whether it's post-recall or whether it's even pre-recall, is to migrate towards the direction of your team and not the direction of cover.
Right.
So keep
Yeah, I
that
started
one in
thinking,
mind.
oh, I need to get some heals. You know. and
Case
then
in
I died.
point, right? Case in point, right? Okay. Bit of an awkward rotation. I don't think you would normally do this rotation if you didn't have pulse bomb.
Right. Yeah, pulse bomb always messes me up.
Yeah. So where should you
Yeah.
go? Where would you go? Ignore pulse bomb. Where would you go?
I probably would have gone right and then maybe dropped down or just gone to see what was happening below there. Maybe I
Yeah.
could shoot down.
Yeah. This is a great angle right here. Ana can't see. You can shoot Cass. You can shoot Moira. You can shoot Winston. You can rotate onto the Ana. Okay, so that's it.
Yeah. Generally,
Right?
when I have pulse bomb, I always have this like
Yeah.
feel, this need to like triple blink, hit it, recall. I don't
Yeah.
know why. It's like this like
Yeah.
urge to do it.
Well, it's a very common urge, and the irony is that oftentimes if you just position yourself, it would be a lot easier to hit the pulse bomb, which is exactly what would have been the case here. So, don't let pulse bomb shift how you play necessarily. Maybe you look for more aggressive plays when where applicable, but I mean, this is just so unnecessary, right? If you just simply staged appropriately.
Right.
I'm noticing
Yeah.
a lot of inconsistency in how you're playing. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad, and a lot of it is depending on whether you're standing with your fundamentals or whether you're cheating the system or getting a little lost in the sauce.
Yeah, and this is really, I think this is where you start to see that devolvement happen is right around now,
Okay.
maybe a little bit before. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like
a lot of it has been
we're struggling, and
Yeah, a lot of it has been your fault. A lot of it has not been your fault. There's been a couple of moments where like your teammates just got picked just randomly. You guys have had very poor ult value. So I look at this here and I'm like, I want you to set up better at angles when you have pulse bomb. And I want you to not recall and then run back to your team. I want you to hold corner.
Right. Okay.
And I'd love a little bit better trigger discipline. But would that have changed the result of this, 46 to 66 objective? I don't know. Right? So nothing really needs to change. There doesn't need to be an adjustment here. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no strategic. We haven't really talked about the Widowmaker because I think you've done a pretty good job respecting her sightlines. Right? You've played your angles around Widowmaker. We don't need to talk about Ana Moira backline and all the adjust. No, you just play the same game. You dodge Ana, you dodge. Like, there's nothing new here that you haven't already done or at least taken into account here. Right? Like, that's just dumb, right? That there doesn't, in it, like, you could think about, like, I would say probably in general, utilizing this side of the map. Maybe that's where it's a little bit of map knowledge. But, yeah, I mean, This isn't
No,
like
and I know it's there. I know it's
Yeah,
there.
it's
Here
nothing-
it's just like
right. So there isn't like anything brilliant or crazy that's needed here.
yeah.
Nice. I mean, this is fine-ish. That's where the pulse bomb radius probably helps.
Right, yeah.
But this is just you freaking died to a Widowmaker and then showed up as the fight was already lost because you're coming back from spawn. I didn't think your
Right.
angle was bad. I thought your aim looked pretty good. I think the pulse bomb attempt was fine. Just a 4v5. You showed
Yep,
up late.
yep.
You know, it isn't rocket science here. Okay. I don't hate this staging here either. This is fine. Could off angle and shoot the tank from here. Now there isn't a lot of deep in options here, but it's not terrible. Now what you could do is if you were, I was gonna say, so you could do this, but you can also do what? If you're really unhappy with what this angle is providing, what's the solution?
Let's see. Well, I could just wait for the tank to pop forward a bit more.
could.
I could go with
You
my team
could.
for a little bit, then like kind of like cheap blink behind
You
them.
could, you could,
you know,
you could,
something like
you
that.
could. You can simply also wrap around behind as well. So just commit to a longer
Right.
rotation. That would take a little bit of setup, but it's an option. It's also an option that you could have done literally from spawn instead of immediately committing left. But this is not terrible.
Yeah, usually when I'm not in this frantic state, I do think about that sort of thing. But in this moment, if everything feels slow.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie with you. This is
Yeah.
disgusting mechanically. I'm gonna give you some credit for this one. This is ridiculously risky, but you put on kind of a masterclass of how to approach it if you are gonna do it. So you blink from the outside, not from the middle. You shoot, and then blink immediately once they turn their attention on you. Then you're like, oh no blinks. So you start to crouch spam, 80-80 crouch spam, 80-80 crouch spam, attention. Then as soon as you get a blink, you blink through them, pivot to the squishiest target, clip, crouch again, off to the side, or strafe rather. Finish the clip, recall, and then try to get to cover.
Yep.
And you are successful. I mean, that's monstrous. That's a huge play right there. Now, it could have been set up better, I will say. Maybe you didn't have to go quite so risky, but this is good. I'm going to be honest with you. From what I've seen, strictly from like some of these clips, maybe this was a decent game for you or not, this doesn't look like Plat 4. This looks like high Plat, low diamond. It really does. So this really begs the question, why? I want to see...
I feel that way too, but it's definitely got to be like these breakdowns and like my thought process when we start losing games. Because I'm pretty sure at the end, I'm probably the one who ends up throwing the game. Because I'm trying to fix the problem, and by trying to fix it, I throw it.
Yeah, and we've already seen a couple of fights like that already. I don't like this rotation from you. This rotation here is, we're cooking. But where's the next step from here?
I should have gone behind that,
Why?
that bust, I think. Would have given me a bit more cover, and I could have gone for the Widow.
It's a deeper
Although
angle,
I guess in
better
hindsight,
cover.
in hindsight, I didn't... Well, no, I knew the Widow was there. I knew she was there, yeah.
And it doesn't matter if the Widow's there or not. That's the key thing here. Because where is your team right now? Where is your team's angle?
Yeah, they're basically behind me.
Right, so you need to lean away, not towards, because that makes it more dangerous for you. Because once you see this, the Widow's already looking here.
Right.
You actually just strafed into one of her shots almost. So deepen the angle, rotate, and crucially, as you first noticed, it's towards cover as well. That recall greed is insane.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on holding it because I tend to feel like when I start fights, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like I tend to be out of blinks, I tend to be out of this, and so lately I've been trying to work on like holding it. But it's definitely hurting.
Yeah, I mean it's tricky. It's tricky. I understand. We won't sweat that one too much. But my initial take: good rotation on start, good timing on start, terrible rotation, and that really hurts you. In other words, you just blinked back into the open and poor use of cover. Mechanics were good. Initial setup was really good. What you did from that position was not. Okay. Sure. Sure. Yeah, you just need to commit here. This is just a little bit of indecision.
My anxiety.
Do I want to commit here?
Yeah.
You could commit up to here. You could have gone with the voices, and gone around behind. That would have been fine as well. You just need to choose something. And then once tank bullies you out, you can rotate around here. This is fine. Yep. I mean, you missed it, right? So let's
Yeah,
not
that was
pretend
weird. It's like I blink pulsed is it hit landed.
Yeah.
Weird, yeah.
I think part of it's because you were panicky with your positioning, and so that just translates into your mechanics, and you're panicky with your position because you didn't know where to go, right?
Right.
But this is fine.
I should have waited.
I mean, I don't know. I get it. Like you're like, Lifeweaver surely can heal me from here. So this one at least this isn't you going back to your team to get healing. It's like I should be able to get healing from here, and you do. So
Yeah.
it's all right. Yes, sure. Yes, sure. Rotation options here are limited.
Yeah, I keep feeling like I should be able to go through that door on the left, and I can't. It's like
I
the most
know.
annoying thing. In fact, I keep like, oh, come on, where is it? Nope. Gotta go back. Yeah.
Now you can keep just doing what you're doing right now, but again, you can also rotate. What's the rotation?
I've done a few in the past where like I'll blink, like cheap blink, where I'll go straight then like left. Basically, there's like a opening there, right? I've done that a few times in the past. It's riskier.
You can, but you can go 1, 2, jump 3. Here.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget this part of the map, right? This part of the map is in new development, right? It's there for a reason. Oh no. Oh no. Our helping hand Lifeweaver.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair to you, actually to be fair to you, to be fair to you, maybe it was necessary there. So this is a bad rotation from you, but Lifeweaver.
Oh.
Okay. To be clear to you, this is also just a really, 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 really uncomfortable location to take fights as Tracer.
Right.
This is just a map thing. It's not a big deal. You guys have lead. They use Grav. You're fine. You can lose this fight. You have my permission. You even got a couple extra meters. So that's whatever. That could have been set up better. That could have been not blinked into walls better. But it's not enough to panic or concern or change what you're doing. Okay, the setup is fine. Fight starting. Recall for the angle. You don't need to panic. You're fine. We go back in, and we continually apply pressure. This is a little far. Don't have recall yet. Should be okay. Let's walk.
Oh, they're having some water, I think.
Yeah. So this is just your peaking angles from too long. You need to be peaking angles from here or peaking angles from here. And it was also just a question of just being a little bit off recall timing.
Yeah, there, I remember I was just trying to get their attention. That was like that point where
it was fine.
Look at me,
Get their attention from a range where you actually deserve their attention. Because if you're closer, at least Cassidy might actually die if he doesn't give you attention.
Right.
Whereas you're still within his fall off range, so a one shot is a one shot no matter if it's 15 meters, 10 meters, or 20. But with 10, you're more likely to actually get something out of it. But this is fine. There it is again. You see it?
Yeah,
Where should you go from here? You went back. Now what?
I could have gone across there and then rotated to left behind them, I think, would have been a good way. Or I could have gone right.
Just go back right.
Just
go back right. This is this is your spot here. This is not only a missed pulse bomb, but you're still in a bad position that Cassidy and Echo and all these characters are just better at. Now this ends up working out okay because you fall into an angle, but those seconds where you weren't there were not useful.
Right.
And you've never really had the option to choose whether you wanted to shoot tank or whether you wanted to shoot backline. There's only been frontline.
Right,
which is fine if that's what the map provides you, but that's not what the map provides you. That's what you chose. This tracking is really quite good. You are limiting yourself off of your rotations and especially.
Really, I always thought my tracking was bad.
No, your tracking is relatively yes. Yeah, but not to Plat 4 tracers.
Yeah.
No. This rotation's fine. You got yourself pincered. Where's the next step from this rotation?
Where did I get? Who killed? Oh, I should have gone to the right.
Yeah, just deepen from here.
I should have gone
Take
to
your
the
angle
right,
here.
yeah.
Now you didn't know Ana was there, but even if Ana's not there, you don't want to be here. You want to be on the outside. This is reminiscent of this rotation earlier when you were on the Moira here, and then you blinked out this way. Not as egregious as that. It's a little bit more unlucky, but it's still the same thing here. Okay, and then I think you're kind of screwed here.
Yeah, this is just me trying to do something to stall it, I think. Yeah.
This is not rocket science, this one here. Tell you what, there's been no necessary compositional map, whatever adjustments, outside of a couple of tricky points on the map where you weren't really sure where to rotate. The two that come to mind were when you were defending at this choke, right? And then when you were coincidentally attacking at this choke, right?
Right.
Knowing the rotations that were available to you are the 2 points where you really failed. Beyond that, your setups were okay. Sometimes you would rotate back towards your team. Sometimes you'd push from main with pulse bomb. And sometimes you'd avoid using your recall just to avoid using it and then end up giving up your angle entirely. But your setups are okay. Mechanics, okay. Blink usage, honestly, again, okay. Not terrible. Let's look at another code here if you'd like to.
Yeah, I have one more. This one, let's see here, I'll put it in the chat. I think we won this one in the end, but I felt like I got carried in this one. It was also a close game. It went to like 5 rounds.
Yeah, I don't care if it's win or loss.
Hollywood.
I had more concern with questions or if it was a competitive game that showcases maybe some of what you generally do well or don't do well. Okay.
Yeah, this is one of those
questions?
games where I feel like I got carried, I think, to start. I would say. Like, we won it, but I feel like my value wasn't great. And I think now thinking about it, I think it's going to be very similar to what we just saw.
Any questions?
No, I think I'm making my own notes here. You know what, Trigger Discipline, that one is, how do you suggest exercising that?
So I'll showcase it with practice range, but it will translate to IOStux and Vaxta.
Okay.
Especially Vaxta, because Vaxta, the bad thing about Vaxta is it's not a game. The good thing about Vaxta is it's not a game, right? So there's no pressure. So Trigger Discipline would be just simply, right? It's when they move off of you and you're like, oh, I'm not tracking. Like, so let's say I'm like a bronze player, right? Let's try to replicate that here. Let's go to 27 cents or 37 cents. Okay, so I'm not used to this, right? But like it'd be like,
Right.
It's like I'm like giving those mid clip, like those mid clip reassessments, right? And you don't like I'm doing it a little bit excessively here. I wouldn't say you need to do like every 5 bullets, but I'd say at least mid clip. So I'd go like here. Whoa. Right there, you see that like little assessment there, realigning. That was especially a problem in the first one there, because the first fight I think there was like versus that Cassie, like there was a lot of moments when that was you would have killed him a lot faster if you just stopped shooting. Let's put it that way.
Right.
So I would practice that with Vaxta, and the way that you practice it in ranked is same thing. Right. Every time you shoot a tank, DPS, or a support, or take a duel, is be very attentive to, am I giving myself time to realign my crosshair? So the reason why skill is so important to practice is because it never stops becoming relevant. In fact, the higher ranked players are generally significantly better at it than lower ranked players. Because as you get better in rank, your tracking gets better, but their movement gets better too. So higher ranked tracer players are really, really good and consistently pause mid-clip to realign, and so their pick potential, damage output, etc. is actually coincidentally higher, even though they rarely just mash clips out over and over and over and over again.
Right. No, it makes sense. You literally just have more bullets to shoot because you're not wasting it into the air.
Yeah. It's also a good way to practice as well. It forces you to be intentional about every single thing that you shoot, instead of just kind of like, well, I hope I spray and pray, right?
Right.
Unless you're shooting a shield, of course. So this is a bit of a risky rotation, but it's fine. You got cover. You're kind of baiting her in towards Mega. I think you could have greeted that even further, considering you had one more blink. Play towards the Mega. You get what I'm saying? But that's okay. That's a misread of the situation, but it is a good strategic choice. So I think it's fine. This is also fine. Okay.
I forgot why I was waiting. I don't remember why.
I think you're just listening.
Yeah, I think some of the team had.
Yeah, I think you were like down one. I don't think you were like really sure whether your team was there or not. There is a respawn coming here. I don't know if you're aware of it.
I think I kill her. I think I kill her. I think I heard her. I just heard her coming. So like, oh, easy.
Yeah. That's the lack of trigger discipline there. Like that is hideous right there. See, that's what makes you think your tracking is bad, because you're like, oh man, I should. But it's because you're making your tracking look bad. See, like look at this. That's pretty good tracking for a plat player, right? And in this is actually really smart. You blink in and you jump up and overhead, like kind of Genji-esque. That's really good. That makes it really hard for her to track you. But you're not a one-shot character. You don't have to hit all. You could just kind of spray, like hit half of your shots, right? So give yourself the chance to realign that crosshair, and she's dead.
Right. Oh man,
She's
it's
dead.
so bad, especially in slow mo.
I mean, yeah, everything looks worse in slow-mo, but
Yeah.
that's trigger discipline.
Right.
If you had dumped your clip there, look at the bullets. If you had dumped your clip there, she would have lived because you would have been reloading right now. And she's actively being healed by Mercy right now. So you actually demonstrated a tiny bit of trigger discipline there. And that's the only reason you got the kill. So, well done.
Yeah. Okay.
Scary. If you can live, can you live? Can you live? Okay. That should be really big for your team. I'm like looking at this here, and yeah, I mean, look at the space that you've created. This is fine. And then now quickly go. Okay, nobody's here. Let's go. Trigger discipline, right?
Yeah, and here I feel like I probably should have gone for the Mercy instead, but I saw she had Discord, so I'm like, oh, maybe I can get a quick pick.
Yes, I agree, but yeah, I also agree. I saw it. It's fine. Like if you get a discorded clip, like you can often just kill it right through. Man, I don't know. I really want you to be more cautious with your pulse bombs. Like I want more effort. Like you're down your recall. It's fine to just get out, you know? Get out and like think about the pulse bomb. Like it feels like pulse bombs are always like an afterthought. And it is an ultimate that you build quickly, but it's an ability, you know? Use it. Don't with intention. Don't just throw it and hope something happens, right? Recall, reset, do it again, you know?
Yeah.
Good rotation. Sure. You're kind of cheating here, but I mean, I think it's probably a good decision.
Yeah, I noticed she kind of kept going in straight lines most of the time.
That's our Mercy players. They just go for res without thought at all.
Yeah, she wasn't doing that like hop thing with Guardian Angel, whatever it is.
Yeah. This is just bad blink usage from you. You know Rams on you. You have that extra blink. Maybe you didn't know it, but like this is really important for you to. I mean, but regardless than that, I mean it's still decent, and you guys should still be able to cap off of that eventually. Yep, I mean, yeah, it's good. It's smart. It was good use of the mini health pack here. I would just hold the angle and shoot the tank, frankly, but this is okay as well. What do you think?
The fact that they didn't kill me here is a miracle.
What do you think? Earned? Not earned?
The sleep? Oh no, I shouldn't have been there. I don't think for that. Take two on like that. Yeah.
So what should you have done differently then?
Well, I could have gone left there instead, or I could have just poked a little bit and not just ran straight into their face.
I mean, you're trying to use your blinks here. I think this is just there's a little bit too much aggression without recall. Because what would have happened here is you would have gone, I mean, maybe you would have gotten slept regardless, but there would have been, at least 3 blinks here. This is a 2v1, so you need to be a little bit more respectful. And I think that's the big thing here. Like, other than that, like, I don't think it was bad. I saw the effort. I saw the vision.
I thought for sure I was gonna die there. Just hold down E and hope I recall.
Wait, what was she doing? You can tell the panic is kicking in a little bit. Hey, again, you see the pulse bomb, right? Like you hit it this time, but it really feels like you are just screaming and just like, whatever, hope it works, right?
No, it's true. It feels that way too.
Okay. But yeah, the actual way that you're approaching these fights here, the ways that you're angling, it's been pretty reasonable. And I can also tell that you've been putting some effort into your crosshair ego, right? Like that definitely see the blink movement is not too shabby. Okay. Let's see where we go. Okay, let's wait. We're going in here.
Yeah, this was definitely a long game too. I think we ended up going to 5.
That last blink is a bit spooky. So right here, you probably need to go ahead and blink here. I think this is where you're like, I've got her, but just be very careful of those characters with burst value because you always think you got them, but you might not.
Right.
Mercy
Yeah, and the crosshair ego thing has definitely been a thing for me. Like I've had to really work on it. Like I still definitely make
it's not perfect, but there's I don't know where you started from, but this has not been bad. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So surely there's been a sense of progression. Case in point, right? This may be where it may be helpful for you when in these giant clumps to think more about where you are on the map and less about where you are in their screen. So with this next blink, I need you to blink to cover, not just necessarily through them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, where would you go here?
I could have gone to the right.
You got to go to the right, right.
Yeah, I could have gone around that way. I think that would be better.
Yeah, or even just approach them from here if they don't end up backing up. But at least you have a little bit of like a staging ground to decide what you want to do. Whereas here feels like you're pretty much just going to have to recall out no matter what you do.
Right.
Okay. Your team is really going. Even that crosshair you got to be careful. Even versus a character like Tracer. That's how Tracer duels are won.
It's really about blinking, right, with Tracer duels. I feel like it feels like that's me anyways. Like whoever blinks first tends to kind of reacquire faster.
It is. It is. Nice job. Okay. And you are the main pulse. And you can see the problem, right? Like even when you do hit it, it's just not guaranteed value, right?
Right.
I mean, look at this. I mean, I think I could hit this pulse bomb. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and it's well set up. It's like well done. Like, for me, it's not just the what you're doing when you're pulsing like this. You should be setting up instead of pulsing on main. Yeah. But it's not just the value of the setup, but also the value of the pulse. Once you actually set up, is significantly easier. You have better vision. You have better surprise. More access to squishier targets. Easier vision of whether you're going to force cooldowns, less chance of death, and crucially, it's easier to hit because they're not strafing or mitigating in this direction. They're not thinking about it this way. That's all this here, right? So when we talk about strafing, it's here. It doesn't matter with pulse bomb. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. The funny thing is now that I'm watching the replay with you, I do feel like I am actually providing quite a bit of value, but in the moment in these games, I feel like I'm not.
Yeah,
which is weird.
That might be some self-reflection. That might be some self-reflection. You know what I'm saying? In these instances, why do I feel like that? Because honestly, like even going back to the Colosseo game, played well. Like when you played well, and like a lot of times when you felt like you weren't providing value was more of just really, really awkward spots in the map, and that would only happen a couple of times.
Right. Yeah, and that's what it is with the pulse bomb. Suddenly I'm like, oh, well, if I just throw it in, I get a pick. That's some value,
Yeah, exactly. This is just, well, you tell me, what is this?
I don't even know what I was thinking there. Was I just thinking about killing the Tracer, I think?
Yeah.
Literally just
look at your HP, look at your blinks, right? Like, so this needs to be cautious, control the angle, be very patient, play rat mode. You can't force this engagement, because you were at a significant disadvantage. You're never going to be able to win that. Even 1v1, right? You would not have won that. So you just needed to keep their attention and live. So, okay.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Next step. This feels a little bit like unnecessary cheating from you. I don't see the upside of this. She is going to have support from her team. She is very much in the triple blink territory for you, which is not great. And there are a lot of rotations available to you here.
Right.
High ground, under right, under left, and so on.
I don't
She's
know
not
why.
even discorded, right?
Yeah,
is this once
like
again
a brain dead moment?
Is this just more I have to do things again?
That's what it feels like. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like I can get a quick pick maybe, which I mean obviously I can't, but in the moment it felt like I could.
Right. And well, that's recall greed. That's something that you were trying to improve on, but ultimately you recall and then you're all the way back here, which is ironic because with your concern about not doing enough, you often recall yourself back to a position where you can't do anything because you didn't set up because you went in for a triple blink instead. And obviously being dead means that you're not doing anything. So
right.
Okay, this is fine. I like where we're thinking here. It's probably a good rotation for you around right. Using even the high ground is fine. Man, you are like, I am taking it to you. You're not taking it to me.
Right.
Okay. And that is
recall there.
Yeah. That's okay. I would keep an eye on that, but it happens. Like it is like I'm like, jeez, like don't tell me your tracking is bad. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear anymore. Like, hold on, wait. My scroll wheel is bugged, so if you see me fumbling around with the stupid play speed, that's why. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Are you kidding me?
It's yeah, you're right. It's got to be just the.
That's crazy. That's actually such a big play for you too, because now we're in single fight territory now to cap the point. So, and all it took was a pulse bomb. So, good stuff. This point is really awkward to attack. So, if you feel, you know, imposter syndrome a bit here, it's normal. This is just a really bad spot here.
I tend to just kind of wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do that Tracer on defense too. I always feel a little awkward for the same reason. Like
It is.
just at chokes, you know, when you're waiting. Like my team is shooting at a distance, and I'm kind of just chilling there waiting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just reset here. Go top if you want to. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is fine. So whenever you're in these positions, either go for low risk, low reward stuff like this, where you can just kind of pepper the tank in the back at a decent amount of damage, or go for something really, really silly like blink back here and try to maintain as much attention as possible. For the high risk stuff, I like being a little bit later. For the low risk stuff, I think you could just start like now, which is exactly what you're doing. So this is fine.
60 seconds remaining.
Okay. We'll skip a little bit forward here.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go higher risk. I think that's reasonable. Okay, then we go, oh no, I can just shoot queen. I think that's also reasonable. I don't like this. If you wanted to do this, there was a better angle to do it from. So you're going to get hit by Bob, and you might just die. Ooh. That was all a strategy to stop the Bob in the open. I see what you're doing here. That's clever, actually.
Yeah,
well
that's
done.
what it was. Yeah, yeah.
Big brain. Again, I don't like your setup here. Like, you have the high ground. Might as well use it, right? If you're gonna take that high ground, use the position to go for a greedier angle. You're just dunking on this Tracer mechanically. It's really funny to watch.
Yeah, I think I was kind of messing with her a little bit. Every time I would see her, I kind of had this need to just go.
Yeah,
which I usually don't, but for some reason, this game in particular.
Yeah, it's because you've been dunking on her, so it just kind of comes like an ego thing. But obviously, then that leads to this hubris, which is if you're gonna not cap, it's gonna be because of that mistake. Looks like you're probably okay. Yeah, okay. So more main pulsing, compromising your angle. And a lot of times where you start really well with how you're setting up and how you're rotating and how you're positioning, think about first point. Your mistakes with first point were less to do with your positioning and more to do with what you were doing from those positions. But then honestly, I've been really disappointed in how you played your second, and to a lesser extent of how you played your third, right? Positionally, right? It felt like whether it was from later in the round, things get a little bit sloppier. That's normal. Or feeling like I'm not doing enough, I need to kind of force stuff to happen. Or even a sense of ego with a Tracer duel. The fundamentals have gone out the window. It really just feels like completely, like it feels like a just good old-fashioned random plat Tracer gameplay, right? Not somebody that's watched my videos, right? You know, like it's completely kind of gone out the window here. So I think you've done a pretty good job of identifying why that was the case in this particular game. And I think that's going to be something that you're going to need to keep in your mind moving forward here. So,
yeah, for sure. I think I need to watch more replays too.
Yeah, I mean,
gameplay. I feel like
briefly at least. You know, there's problem points. So that's what I always like to do is when you do a replay code, just problem point it.
Okay.
What were the points of the maps of the fights where I didn't really know what to do, and make it like a 4-minute ordeal, not a 40, right? So we only do this because this is like a full diagnostic blood analysis. You know what I'm saying? CAT scan. You know, we're not. That's not going to be a daily thing. Like this angle here. Yeah, this is fine. This is you know, it's more tank focused. Don't need to do anything crazy. Let them come in, shoot what's available. Yeah, it's fine. Mark the Tracer. Good. Don't let her steal Mega from you. Good. So now you should win this duel. Especially with that, the big trigger discipline. You see it? You see it? You see it? Oh, it's really good. So you started the reload here, but watch this. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, wait. Right there. A little bit of reacquisition. Now do that, but stop shooting when you do that for a second.
Right.
So that way you have 5 more bullets in there, 30 more damage. But yeah, this is good. This is fine. Hold on. And there you go. They were right back to neutral. They've made 0 progress. So
this sort of defense, is this like a decent defense to kind of wait? Because a lot of times in some maps, I'll usually sometimes sit a bit more risky, like on the other side of this wall. and wait for them to pass. Then I'll jump on. But like that, right? But usually
Yeah.
that feels a little risky sometimes. And so I tend
It's
to
a question of uptime versus quality of that uptime. So because you're not going to have any support from your team and you're going to be easier to isolate, you're going to have to give the enemy team a lot more respect because you're basically in their backline. Okay.
Right.
So that's fine, but it's also a lot higher risk. This is a little bit lower risk in a way. Like you're just kind of like shooting as they come through. This is fine.
Okay. Yeah,
This
I do
is
that a
fine.
lot in Kings Row in particular. I've noticed, and I kept dying to it in the past, and so I stopped doing
Yeah.
it.
This is okay. Yeah, this is okay. It's not that playing the backline is bad. It's just that playing the backline demands a certain mindset for you to be in. It's exactly what we talked about with Hollywood Third Attack, right?
Right.
Either
right.
you shoot the Drunk Queen in the back of the head, like what you're doing right now, or you triple blink or live in the backline and recognize the fact that you are playing to try, kind of like what you did on the attack, where you were like, oh gosh, like there are literally like 3 people chasing me. I just need to live. That can work here too as well. But I think this is
Right.
fine. Like you are doing good damage. There's Fortify. That Fortify is you, not your Doomfist. She doesn't know it yet, but it is. And then as the fight kind of breaks out, you can do things like this. And this is where I think you just feel a lot more comfortable if you were thinking more about cover during your rotations. This is why I don't like this, right? I don't mind the concept of what you're doing. I don't like the specifics of what you're doing. So instead of double blinking through Ana and ending there, double blink through Ana and end where?
Yeah, behind that bus or the car over there.
Yeah, exactly. Just literally the difference between this and this is night and day. Night and day, right there.
And this feels like that's that brain dead portion where it's like I feel like I need to do something, and I literally just like zone out a little bit.
I'm going to cut you some more slack here because I do think this is the right thing to do. I think that like you had to set up another short range off angle. I just don't think you did it very well. And I think the reason you didn't do it very well is because I'm going to guess that you were thinking crosshair ego.
Right.
And so this is correct. The problem is can we crosshair ego you to a corner?
Right.
Right. Unless
Like,
she's
actually
1
get
HP, right? And that's kind of like what I want to see from you. Because this is not, like, to be very clear, I'm being nitpicky. This is good. Like, if you guys are going to clutch this one out, it's going to be through your efforts right here. This is really, really high value stuff. You've done a good job.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're still staged for backline. And now we have recall. So Ana's not looking at me, so you shoot, trigger discipline, crosshair ego. There it is. You see it. Good stuff. Nice use of your blinks. Beautiful. There's no cover there, so you just had to basically trust your blinks as your compensation for lack of cover. But this is great. I mean, that disturbs me, but, you know, it's okay. This is good. This I actually think that overall, this is maybe one of your best series. The last 2 minutes, or almost a minute and a half. Really good. Good initial starting position. Good job marking the tracer. Good rotation on the Ana. Could have rotated to cover. Good pursuit on the Ana. Good use of your blinks. Mechanics looked okay. Pulse home was ugly, but honestly, the idea of the pulse home was not bad. It seemed you were a little bit more calm about it. You just missed it. Good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
Okay.
I think your team played really poorly. But other than that, it was pretty good. And it's crucially because it was, coincidentally, one of those fights where you just were a lot more in focus on where you wanted to be. And I think the same thing is happening here, too. Right? You're very attentive to where I ought to be and where I can be. And even your crosshair ego here. She catches you by surprise, and then you blink.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just...
Is she going to hit me?
You're just better than she is. I mean, look, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was, I'm better than you, yeah. But you're also better than her because you blinked and she didn't. The only mistake here is that you got such an advantage. Well, I mean, to be fair, that was your last blink. I'll cut you some slack for that. That's okay.
Yeah. I got worried. I was like, oh shit, like I better get out. I don't know. Something else worried me for some reason. And I had a feeling she was going to chase me.
That probably should have been a blink there earlier. And then obviously, so like here, for example, shoot like a couple bullets and then blink through. Because she doesn't have recall either. You utilize that against her. And then please don't.
I'm pretty sure I did.
yeah. This is like one of those. Okay, so this is the first time I think in our entire review where I understand your feeling of helplessness. I don't think you've played perfectly, but I don't think you've played poorly either, and yet you guys are getting destroyed.
Right, right.
Have you thought about where to set up pre-fight for the last couple of fights? Yes.
No, no. Here at this point, no, definitely not. I think
Oh,
it's just
but,
kinda
but,
going.
no, wait a second. The previous few fights.
Oh yeah, yeah. The previous few, I
You
had
have.
an idea. I had like
Yes.
a visual idea where I wanted to go. And
Have
then
you
the game
focused
starts
on your
to evolve.
movement? Have you focused on your movement and your blink usage? Yes. Okay. So that's about all you can focus on in any one game. Like that's a lot to balance. Pre-fight positioning, mid-fight mechanics. Done a pretty good job at that. The result has not worked.
Right.
Trust the process. Trust the process. After the game, if you are curious, what could I have done better? Was my positioning bad? Was my movement bad? That's when you go into VOD review and reevaluate.
Got it. Got it.
Don't do that
Okay.
right now. Don't do that right now.
Right,
Do the
right.
exact same thing you've done before. Where should I go? Then let's focus on movement.
Okay. Okay.
Sure. Oh, she's singing Pulse Mon. Go get her. Why? Because that's just an angle I want. Now you could have gone left as well, but we should probably go ahead and go.
Yeah. and Here she kept chasing me too, so I knew she was going to come back at some point. I think she killed me here.
Weird recall.
Yeah, I don't even need to do it.
And you're just kind of in the open most of all, but you basically have kind of lost your touch with the Tracer Jewel the last couple of times. Mostly to do around kind of your blinks and partly just due to your aim as a whole. But again, I know looking at where we're at right now, it doesn't feel very good, but don't change anything.
Right. Right.
Your team is just not. But see, the problem. Like, if you want to know why we're losing, why you're losing, give yourself a sense of control here. Let's look. Okay, so this is going to be a really simple answer. So you win first fight, but watch your Zenyatta here.
Oh man.
He just
Yeah.
doesn't get healed, and he's in the open.
Right.
I don't know what your Life Weaver was doing. Too late.
Yeah,
And we
it was-
didn't get pulled either, right? He just freaking died, okay?
Yeah.
So that happens. Then let's look at our ults here, okay? So we lose, we get picked, we get snowball from there. Doom still is not build an ult. Wait, did Doom swap? No, Doom did build an ult. Yeah, and got nothing with it and then died.
Died right then.
Your pulse misses, Doom ult misses. Your Zenyatta swaps to Ana. Doom dies. Doom gets picked. Torb dies. We can retake with their ultimates,
Just like a
surely, right?
mess. Right.
Nope.
Right.
Torb swaps with ultimate to Bastion.
Oof.
Okay? And swaps, by the way, into almost a composition composed entirely of soft and hard counters, by the way. Orisa dominates Bastion, Ana, Echo, Tracer. I mean, you know, it's not a good matchup.
Yep.
Okay, that's okay. We have a regrouped fight. We just need to use our tree. We don't get our pull. We don't get our pedal. We don't get our tree. And then your Ana swaps once again. So not only do we not have a tank ult, we don't have a pulse bomb, we don't have a DPS ult, and we don't have anything but a tree.
Right.
Your team made a bunch of really bad swaps and a bunch of really bad ults, and they, on the contrary, have done really well with their ults. That's it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Makes sense.
So rotation's fine. It's deep, but it's fine. Go get her if you want her. You got to be decisive here, though. Like, take that angle, right? Because it's a good angle.
Right.
for you.
Right.
It's a good spot. That's where, by the way, having the other perk really helps. Because
Right.
I think you're aware of how the blink pulse with the health pack, even if you're full health, you can steal it.
Right. And would have given me the extra blink, which would have been really nice.
Nice. We finally got to our angle. Keep going. Sure. At least you did it from an angle for once, but yeah, didn't need to force that. This rotation's fine.
I've been trying to work on like shooting tank a bit more, so that tends
mean-
to just go straight to the back line all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, when you take this position here, it's probably the easiest thing and safest thing to shoot, and you're doing a lot of damage to her, and that actually forces Javelin Spin and Nano Boost. Now, here, I would probably not shoot because this is fortified nanoed.
Right,
Orisa, right?
Yeah.
So this is where you're leaving your angle to chase a tank, excuse me, when instead what should you be doing? Right here.
Yeah, I should have gone behind. I should have gone just
Not even
just gone that
behind,
way.
just where you're here, right? You're already
Right,
here to
right.
do that. So it's not about trying to shoot tank more. It's more about trying to just shoot what's in front of your screen from a good position, whether that's tank or
Right.
not. This is okay, though. Like, this is where I feel like your positioning has leveled up from where we've seen it in the past, and I think that's why things are feeling a little bit better. Let's watch one more fight, if that works for you.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Still a bit of an awkward spot to hold. Can shoot tank a little bit there. There's Fortify, so she's really hard to do damage to. We rotate to the opposite side. Don't worry about Tracer. This is your first mistake here, right? So she is now far away from your area of responsibility. What should you do instead?
Yeah, I should focus on like my lane, right? Like where I am right there, which is
The
right there.
Orisa again, right? Or the Moira, right?
Yep.
Right. Ironically, here we go. Now we can actually shoot tank. I don't mind
Right.
the idea here because at least you will end up in a good position and you didn't blink through the middle of the enemy team. But it's just a kind of an unnecessary waste of time. Sure.
I'll take a redo.
This is really annoying for them. Like, they just want to decisively walk forward and... Oh, that sucks. Like,
just a-
even the misplay there is, like, really, really annoying for them because that's been both Ana and Tracer resources devoted, and you guys might actually be able to hold that. Yeah, okay. What needs to be practiced? You said you've been taking some notes. What are those notes?
Well, so I've got Trigger Discipline,
Okay.
Patience actually being a bigger one. If I recall, just go straight for cover. Pulse Bomb, I wrote Don't Be Dumb.
Be intentional, pre-fight even.
Yeah,
about what you wanna
exactly.
do.
Right. I actually plan for it. And then also don't hyperfocus certain characters, like Tracer, for example.
Sure, don't let it become personal. Practice this deliberately, and we'll go from there. One thing at a
Okay.
time. It could be maybe like a pre-fight thing and then a post-fight thing that you work on. But yeah, any questions?
No, this is really helpful.
All right, man.